A very good morning to one and all. I'd like to quickly take you through two milestones in our life. One is unplanned, probably, and that is birth. Out of the womb, the midwife or the doctor facilitating our birth lifts us by our tiny feet and gives us a good spank on the little bumps. And that's when everybody breathed his first. The child cries, and everybody around has a big smile on their faces. The message here is, we may not all be born happy. Or for that matter, we are never born happy. But we all have the ability to make people around us happy. The second milestone is a universal truth, and that is death. In between these two milestones, birth and death, we set up our own milestones. We all are made to be selfish. We all think for ourselves and plan what we want to do between life and death, these two milestones, as rat racers. By my first profession, I'm a marine engineer. I traveled to more than 43 countries, met different people, unknown destinations, saw different cultures, at the end of which I realized that wherever I went, I received very good people. They were very hospitable, and therefore I believed that the whole world is mine. And that set up a responsibility on me. And the responsibility was, I must do something in return. I must do something in return to give back what was done unto me. Ladies and gentlemen, we have all inherited a society where the gap between the rich and the poor is ever widening. Roti, kapda, makan, food, shelter, and clothing are basic needs. But in a fast globalizing world where India is participating very well, we cannot ignore the 8.53 crore children between the age of 6 and 14 which do not go to school even 71 years after independence and after the Right to Education Act, which was passed in 2009. It is a fundamental right, and it states that every child between the age of 6 and 14 must get free and compulsory education. In the West, the developed countries, Europe, Australia, America, Canada, Japan, and name some more countries like those, the government-run schools are far, far superior than private schools. In India, it's just the opposite. When I was teaching at the S.P. Jain Institute of Management Studies, I realized that marketing strategy and business policy were my subjects. To postgraduate students, after the first trimester, they went for a social project. They came back with issues relating to the real India. For that particular year, apart from my teaching assignment, I was in charge of the social projects. I was aghast with the kind of education that was available to the children in rural India. It is then that I realized that I was teaching at the wrong level. The real need was in the primary sector in rural India, where 60% of the population even lives today. That is my real India. To participate in a globalizing economy, we cannot ignore that 60% of the population, and in effective terms, we cannot ignore the more than 30 crore children which come from those villages. But who is going to bell the cat? And that's what we did. Today we operate in Bihar, where we have set up 5 schools, in Uttar Pradesh 2 schools, Maharashtra 1 school and 1 center, and Rajasthan 1 school and 1 center. It's not an easy task to set up English medium schools because we don't get local teachers who can teach in English. Training them is far more difficult. I would also like you to understand the current education system in this country. And I'd request you all to be very participative when I put forth a question. Please be abrupt and fast on it. If I were to ask all of you what A stands for, please reply. What else it stands for? You cannot show to a child of 3 years, this is an alphabet. You can show an apple, which does not grow anywhere else except Kashmir and Himachal Pradesh. After finishing 18 years and coming to an engineering college, and likewise after finishing MBA or any other courses after graduation, if all of us only repeat A for apple, and we cannot recollect any of the other words out of our vocabulary, something is wrong with our education system. Come to my school, come to our schools, and you will find children saying at least 6 to 7 pictorial objects: ass, axe, aeroplane, apron, alligator, antelope, astronaut. And the little ones, 3, 4, 5-year-old children, learn it that way. Jack and Jill went up the hill. Jack or Jill पहाड़ों पे गए to fetch a pail of water, एक बाल्टी पानी लाने के लिए. Jack fell down and broke his crown. Jack नीचे गिरा और सर उसका फटा, and Jill came tumbling after. Jill उसके पीछे लुढ़कते हुई आई. That's the way we teach in our schools. And that's the need of the hour. I remember the day when I decided to start collecting funds on Mumbai's local trains. I had written to some of the top corporates of this country. Not that CSR was not known to me. Knowing it, I wrote to them. Not one replied. Not one replied that they would like to associate and help in this cause. It is then that I thought, where do the corporates get their funds from? People buy their products and services at a price, and out of the profits that they generate, they create a fund called Corporate Social Responsibility Fund. I decided to go to the very people who buy their products and services. In the Mumbai local trains, I found a captive audience. With a box in hand, I told them about the concept I have to provide free English medium education to rural population. And therefore, I go back to the same sentence which I said, the whole world is mine. Why should I restrict myself to believe that the colony where I stay is mine, or the city where I stay is mine? When people ask me, are you from Mumbai? I nod my head and said yes, but I promptly say that I operate in 4 different states. Today it's 4, tomorrow it could be 7. And therefore I cannot say that I'm from Maharashtra or from Mumbai. I say I'm from Rajasthan, I'm from Bihar, I'm from UP, and I'm from Maharashtra. I want to extend this concept because nothing is achieved because I do it or because a few people in our organization do it. Today's talk that I'm talking about is, you are my own. The commuters of Mumbai's local trains are my own, because whatever they give for my schools are for the children, 750 of them learning very well, very good English, with all the facilities that are provided in a decent English medium school. I cannot forget to mention here that when I started this concept of running schools through donations from small donors across Mumbai, it was just the beginning. But today it has become a movement. From across the country, people contact us, and in particular, they want to talk to me. They connect with me on Facebook. They connect with me on social media. They listen to various shows or television reports, the FM reports about me, and some of them even visit our schools. And that's when I say the concept, you are my own, is working. Ladies and gentlemen, I cannot forget an incident which happened the first time when I went to collect funds on the local train. I did not have the courage to open that box, to take out the box from my bag, the acrylic box in which people used to drop funds. That was the first day. 26 September 2010. In Mumbai local language, there are taporis, they say. Some young boys who chew gutka and use foul language. They were on the trains. Two of them heard me asking for charity for schools. One of them tells the other in the group, look, that man is asking for some money for education of poor children. Yet another from his group cautioned him, what do you know? He will take your money. He's a fraud. And all this was being heard by my co-trustee, who was standing at a distance just to know what is the reaction of the people. And believe me, the one who said it the first time, that he's asking for charity and I'd like to give for education, said, and I repeat that in Hindi, uski niyat kharab hogi, meri to kharab nahi hai. And therefore, I will go and give him. Today, I go across the country telling institutions and batches which pass out. As a batch, when you pass out from your college, you can decide to support one particular school. And for the lifetime of your batch, you cannot imagine what the strength of a batch is. I've convinced the college where I was studying, and 3 batches have decided to adopt 3 of our schools. A batch of 2,000 pass out is helping me to set up an entire school, which includes the cost of the land, which includes the cost of the building. Our parliamentarians can easily do that. Each of our MPs gets 5 crore rupees. They could set up a school in their own constituencies for whatever benefits they can accrue out of it. Our MLAs, the legislative assembly members, they can set up a school because they get 2 crores every year. And don't you forget that the right to education is a fundamental right. The Supreme Court gave a judgment which said that 25% of seats in all private schools must be given free to the students below the poverty line. And a fundamental right is the highest right of this country. India needs people to concentrate on its real issues which are faced in the rural parts of this country. There are no roads in most of the villages. When I go to Bihar, I cannot communicate with the rest of my patrons, my donors, my head office, because communication is very poor. These things can be attended to through education. through engineering, through thinking differently and creating those systems, facilities, which will help that rural India. I think I must stop here, though I have only used 10 minutes of my time. Grateful to each one of you for having invited me here, to the team assimilating chaos at TEDxMahindraÉcoleCentrale. Thank you once again for giving me this opportunity to talk to this elite audience. Dhanyavad.